Join our family of creators. Your support means the world to us. Subscribe now to the Content Creator channel. Your support keeps us motivated and helps us bring you fresh, exciting content every week. Hit that subscribe button and be part of our journey. Is the US offering China an unusually generous tariff deal? And what does it mean? In the first 10 seconds, this could be the biggest shift in a decade. For years, US-China ties were dominated by rivalry and economic warfare. Tariffs, counter-tariffs, and tense summits reshaped global supply chains. Then, on August 24, 2025, Washington put forward a shockingly generous tariff proposal. Is it a strategic pivot? Or a calculated maneuver in a larger game? This isn't a tweak. It's a potential rollback of the tariffs that defined US policy since 2018. The implications reach far beyond Washington and Beijing. They touch every economy. To understand this, we need to examine the history, the specifics of the offer, and the motives behind it. Over the next 10 minutes, we will trace the trade war's arc and unpack what this deal could mean. First, a quick history of tariffs and how we got here. Chapter: The Tumultuous History of Tariffs. The US-China relationship began with engagement. China joined the WTO in 2001 and globalization accelerated. American consumers enjoyed low-cost goods, and corporations moved manufacturing to China. Over time, concerns grew. Trade deficits, lost US manufacturing jobs, allegations of unfair practices, accusations of IP theft, forced tech transfers, and state subsidies hardened attitudes in Washington. In 2018, the US launched a sweeping tariff campaign targeting hundreds of billions in Chinese goods. China retaliated, hitting American exports, especially agricultural products, and escalated tensions. The result? Disrupted supply chains, higher consumer prices, and businesses rethinking sourcing. Some companies shifted production to Vietnam, Mexico, and elsewhere to avoid tariffs. Occasional deals like the Phase 1 agreement offered pauses but left high tariffs largely in place. Across administrations, tariffs were seen as leverage over Beijing, a central tool of policy. Which explains why today's generous offer is so unexpected. It breaks a decade-long playbook. So what makes this tariff arrangement exceptionally generous? It is not a small reduction or niche removal, it's a broad rollback across many categories: electronics, toys, furniture, clothing. Crucially, the offer also includes industrial components and manufacturing inputs. Many US manufacturers rely on these parts. Reducing tariffs helps domestic production costs. What sets this apart is the scope and the relatively few conditions attached. Historically, relief required verifiable commitments on IP protection and scaling back subsidies. This proposal is front-loaded with concessions. The US seems willing to act first. Giving away major bargaining chips up front is unusual. It signals an intent to break the stalemate. Analysts are stunned. Is this pragmatic diplomacy or a tactical ploy? Timing is everything. Why now? Late summer 2025, a confluence of domestic pressure and geopolitics. First, domestic economic pressures, stubborn inflation, and household strain. Tariffs have contributed to higher prices. Lifting them could give immediate relief at the checkout. Tariffs sought to encourage reshoring, but many firms shifted to third countries instead. The result? Mixed strategic gains for the US, and limited structural change in China. Second, geopolitics. The US faces competition across tech, military, and alliances. An economic olive branch could ease tensions and create space for security talks. Or it could be a play to isolate China from partners like Russia by offering stability. Washington may judge that stabilizing ties yields greater long-term leverage. It's a calculated gamble, to change the dynamic, not just trade numbers. At its core, the tariff break is a domestic political gamble. Household budgets, grocery bills, gas, these are the kitchen table issues driving policy. Tariffs act like a tax on imports, raising consumer prices. Removing them could lower prices quickly, a visible win for voters. But this risks alienating labor and domestic industries who supported tariffs. They argue that lowering tariffs could hurt American manufacturing jobs. There's also risk that retailers keep savings as profit instead of passing them to consumers. So the impact on headline inflation may be modest. This creates a political tightrope: consumers versus producers. If relief is limited and backlash strong, the administration may end up worse off. But if implemented well and savings reach consumers, it could be a powerful short-term political relief. Beyond the economy, this is a profound geopolitical move. It signals a possible shift from confrontation toward managed competition and selective cooperation. America has built coalitions to pressure China. A sudden unilateral pivot could unsettle allies. Allies may question U.S. consistency and reliability. Some will welcome stability, smoother markets, less uncertainty. Others who tightened policy alongside the U.S. may feel abandoned. One strategic aim could be to make China's partnership with Russia stand out as the outlier. Economic incentives can be used to encourage diplomatic distancing from adversaries. By moving first, Washington forces Beijing and the world to respond, seizing initiative. It's a risky gambit, but potentially a reset of engagement and power dynamics. From Beijing's perspective, the offer is welcome but suspicious. Removing tariffs would boost exports, stabilize factories, and ease employment pressure. Domestically, Beijing could frame this as a vindication of its resilience. It would be a political victory for leadership, stabilizing the economy at home. Yet officials will ask, what is the catch? Is this a Trojan horse? Could dependence on the U.S. market be exploited later? Or will the offer be temporary? Publicly, China will welcome dialogue and benefits. Privately, they will scrutinize every clause. They will try to lock in tariff removal while resisting intrusive conditions. But China will continue pursuing technological self-sufficiency and reduce reliance on the West. For Beijing, the offer is both an economic opportunity and a diplomatic test. A change between the world's two largest economies sends massive ripples. Countries like Vietnam and Mexico that benefited from the trade war may reconsider. Executives who reshored or moved production might slow or reverse plans. The friend-shoring trend could lose momentum if tariffs are lifted. European exporters might welcome stability, but also face renewed competition. Allies who aligned with a tough U.S. stance may feel awkward and reassess their own policies. We may enter a phase of managed interdependence, deeper ties, tighter scrutiny. Global institutions like the WTO could regain a role in managing trade frictions. The reward? Lower prices, calmer markets, and potential strategic leverage. The risk? Alienating allies and domestic constituencies. Whether this becomes a new chapter or a brief interlude depends on politics, reciprocity, and trust. For now, the world watches. Subscribe for updates as this story unfolds. Sources, public reports and policy briefs, captions on Clean Outline. Thanks for watching.